Wednesday, Longevity Nation. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, where we talk about everything holistic, where we bring to the table science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery, which are the norm, which are the monopolized medical system in the free world, which is a great medical system when it comes to emergency care, trauma, surgery when it's absolutely necessary, and a handful of infectious diseases. But for everything else, for in fact most of the conditions that most people visit the doctor for, MD-directed medical therapeutics are the wrong dog for the hunt. And you know, numbers are a stubborn thing. MD-directed medical therapeutics are, in fact, the leading cause of death in the United States and the leading cause of bankruptcy. The only reason that this nonsense persists is because the medical marketplace in the free world has been monopolized by the pharmaceutical industry around the world and the American Medical Association in the United States, to our dismay and distress. Now, rising out of this rubble, there exist pockets of hope all around the world. One of the greatest lighthouses of holistic hope is the Longevity Company. Longevity, founded by Dr. Joel Wallach, my colleague, mentor, and friend over 17 years ago, stands in direct contradistinction to conventional medicine, because longevity says, guess what? Healing is not complicated. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. And longevity brings to the marketplace science-based, clinically verified, holistic medical foundation boilerplate therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's God-given ability to fix itself. That's right, I said it live. God-given, God-given, God-given ability to fix itself. Thank God for Dr. Wallach, and thank God for longevity. I'm a student of history. For those of you who are frequent listeners, you might know this about me. I love history. I'm a big history buff. History is important because, you know, it informs where we come from, and if we pay attention to it, it will give us insight as to what we can expect in the future. Like they say, history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes, right? Well, part of longevity's history is important, and I want to take time to talk about this today with my very special guest, who I'm going to bring up here in about 2 minutes. Longevity has entered its early adulthood. Longevity's been alive for about 17, 18 years now, and in the last 2 years has experienced remarkable exponential growth. Longevity is entering into its young adulthood now, but longevity would not have made it this far. It would not have made it this far were it not for a handful of loyal longevity distributors who heard Dr. Wallach's message 17 years ago when it wasn't so politically correct. Well, it still isn't politically correct, but when it wasn't so sexy, right? Years ago, nobody even knew how to pronounce naturopath, let alone know what it was. I mean, it's a problem now today still, but 17 years ago, forget it. We talked in hushed tones about naturopathic medicine, and it was a completely different scenario. And there were a handful of individuals, brave, forward-thinking individuals, who saw the brilliance and the authenticity and, quite frankly, the simple word for it, the truth of Dr. Wallach's message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. And they took that ball and they ran with it. And were it not for the actions of a handful of people over the last 17 years, longevity would not have survived. It would not have survived. Because, you know, it takes more than the chef to make the restaurant work, right? It takes more than the chef to make the restaurant work. It takes more than the engineer to keep the train rolling down the track. Well, one of the main movers in longevity, one of the reasons for longevity's longevity, one of the people who nursed longevity into its being, is with us right now. It is my privilege and my honor to introduce to you longevity's very own Todd Smith. Welcome aboard, Todd.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Glidden. That was very, very amazing introduction. I've heard so many times, I've been in the audience listening to you, and even been in the studio listening to you as you're interviewed on other national programs. The chance to be a guest on your program is an honor.
Well, Todd, it takes a lot of cooks to make this pie, right? And without your diligent work, as well as that of your partners and Blake Graham and everybody in your downline, Youngevity never would have survived. It's been really quite a roller coaster ride, I would assume, for you. How long have you been dealing with it now? How long? What's your track record with Youngevity? How long have you been doing it?
Well, I actually got first involved with Dr. Wallach before Youngevity existed. When Dr. Wallach was first starting formulating of products and was actually a distributor of a company, and I was in his downline. And so this was in '96 that I first met Dr. Wallach, October of 1996.
Now, when you came into Youngevity because you were actively looking for a network marketing company to align yourself with. Is that correct?
Well, I wasn't necessarily looking for a network marketing company, and I wasn't necessarily looking for health products or even a health message. At the time, my wife and I had just had triplets, and I was full-time in graduate school. And I was broke, and the 3 brand new babies, my wife and these kids needed more time for me at home, and I ended up having to make a choice. Am I going to stay in school and quit my job? Am I going to keep my job and drop out of school? So I chose to stay in school and had to let the job go, and so I was looking for another way to support the family. I actually had never heard of network marketing, didn't know what it was. But my parents had such great health results following the program that Dr. Wallach put together and taking his formulas that my dad said, you need to go check this out and see if you can be a part of what Dr. Wallach's doing. So that was how I was introduced.
And the rest, of course, as they say, is history. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Youngevity is, in fact, a network marketing business. And in any network marketing businesses, there are ranks, right? And you rank advanced the more experience that you get and the greater your business becomes in Youngevity. Todd Smith has been at the top of the heap for how many years now, Todd? You're a Senior Vice Chairman and Marketing Director, which is the highest rank in Youngevity. How many years have you occupied that position?
Since 2000.
Since 2014 years, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, that's quite an accomplishment, because back in the day, no internet, no email. I mean, it was all lecturing. It was all boots on the ground, driving thousands of miles a year, going from town to town to town to town with Dr. Wallach and his entourage, spreading this message of health recovery through science-based nutrition. It was really quite a feat, Todd, for you to pull this off. I mean, it really, every time, when I look at how difficult it's been for me to grow my business, well, not difficult. Difficult isn't the word, but, it's work, right? It's called network marketing for a reason because it takes a lot of work. And when I think about how much work you must have put in to get this done before the Internet, I mean, my head just explodes. I mean, it was really quite an accomplishment.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been a large team effort and lots of people involved. But we've had a vision from the beginning, and the vision was more than selling a product. The vision was more than building a network marketing business. The vision is that there's lots and lots of people out there who are suffering needlessly, and with Dr. Wallach's help, we had answers for these challenges, and we could end this suffering. And so, from day one, when my parents shared this with me, our purpose, and when Blake and I aligned as partners, our purpose and goal was, if we will put all of that first, we will put the ending of needless suffering and cost, we'll put that first, and we seek out to just find what they're struggling with, what the challenges are, plug them into the recommendations from Dr. Wallach, and now, thankfully, we have another voice with you, Dr. Glidden, and many others who have joined now as we've left our formation phase and moved into an acceleration phase of getting this message out. And And we've had phenomenal success, great time, made some wonderful, wonderful friends and relationships, and it's just great to be along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. It's quite a ride. I can't think of anything better, really. And, back in the day when I was in medical school and when I'd graduated from medical school, I knew what network marketing was, but I didn't really know what it was. And, I was arrogant. I was an arrogant pre-med student. I was an arrogant, when I first came out the couple of years, you know everything, right? I mean, that's the mindset of a doctor. And I looked down my nose at network marketing because I never really knew what it was. I didn't take time to investigate it. My mind was closed to those possibilities. Well, Dr. Wallach and fate stepped in 5 years ago and opened my mind to the possibilities of network marketing. And there's been no looking back, because you're absolutely right. There are lots of network marketing companies in the world. There are lots of nutritional supplement companies in the world, but nobody compares to Youngevity as far as what they pay in their compensation plan, what you need to do to get paid, and quite frankly, when it comes to nutritional supplements, I mean, Dr. Wallach is so far ahead of the curve. It's laughable. The competition, there's no competition. It's laughable. And when you marry these two things together, this was an aha moment that I had, right? When I understood, I had a realization that if I apply myself to network marketing with Dr. Wallach's company, the number of people that I can help to recover their health, the amount of suffering that I can end there's no limit to it. There's absolutely no limit to it. And, the money isn't bad either, as the saying goes. So really, it's the perfect solution, especially for today's marketplace. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up against a hard break here. Stick with us. When we come back, we're going to talk to Todd Smith about his experience with promoting Youngevity in another country, in Australia. And if you think Big Pharma is up to shenanigans here in the good old U.S. of A., you're not going to believe what happened in Australia. Stick around with our very special guest, Todd Smith, Senior Vice Chairman, Marketing Director with Youngevity. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Don't even think about touching. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, May 7th, 2014. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden, with my very special guest today, Senior Vice Chairman, Marketing Director with Youngevity for 14 years. 14 years in the in the catbird seat, the top dog seat. One of the reasons that Youngevity was able to survive the not-so-plush years. Todd Smith. Welcome back, Todd.
Well, thank you. Glad to be with you, Dr. G.
All right, so, if you've ever been on one of my free webinars, folks, by the way, we're coming up with another one this Thursday. This Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. It's a worldwide free webinar. It's going to be my talk about the 10 bad foods and why they're bad, to dismiss, hopefully once and for all, the question, why can't I eat oils, and what's the deal with wheat, barley, rye, and oats? That's this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's free. Go to my website right now and register your spot. The last time we had a free webinar, we had people from all over the world, and this really underlines something that my guest saw years ago, that human suffering is not relegated to the borders of the United States. So years ago, Todd Smith decided to take Youngevity to Australia, and you're never going to guess what happened after that. Todd, give us a little recap of your whole experience down under.
Well, it was a blast, I'll be honest with you. But first off, I just have to give these free webinars that you do, when you do them, are an incredible value, and I'm a subscriber to your website and use your archived webinars all the time in helping answer people's questions. So thank you so much for doing that, for making that available to everybody, because you are a resource, and you provide a resource for so many people to change their lives and to overcome these challenges. So I didn't want anyone to take that lightly, because this is a great tool that you make available to us.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's all teamwork, right? It's about teamwork.
It is, absolutely. So with Australia, the neat thing is that I was actually out shopping at a mall when I got a phone call from the CEO of Youngevity, Steve Wallach, and he said, "Todd, we're getting a lot of interest over the phone and over the internet in Australia and New Zealand." And I don't know why I said this. It actually still surprises me to this day. But I said, "I'll go." that sounds like fun. And I hadn't talked to my wife. We had 5 little kids under age of 6, and but I came back and spoke to Darcy, and she said, "What an adventure! Let's do it." So we started packing our things and putting them into storage, and moved over there. And we got over there, and the first thing I did is, we couldn't get a lot of the products imported yet. I didn't know how to do that. I'd never done it before. I didn't know a soul in Australia. And so I just imported the mineral water because that could come in under the labels of mineral water, which was non-duty, and I could get it in without having to have an import agent or anything like that, or pay any duties or taxes or tariffs. And so I had this product there, and we started after my wife finally kicked me in the backside and said, "Todd, hey, remember we moved clear across the world to do this. Maybe you ought to get doing it." So I got my guts up and started talking to people, and we did slowly, one person at a time. We started getting people to listen to Dr. Wallach's famous lecture, "Dead Doctors Don't Lie." And from the lecture, then they would want more information, and we started holding what we called over there Info Night, and people would come, and we'd. One of the things I learned very early on is that you got to provide coffee, tea, and cookies or biscuits in order to get people to come. And so we would have these little info nights with coffee, tea, and biscuits, and people would come, and we would tell them they shouldn't be drinking coffee, tea, and biscuits. And that's what we did for the first year over there. And the message really caught on. I mean, the people in Australia are very open. They're very friendly. They're a loving people, and they can be cynical, but when you show them the truth, they will stand behind a fighter. They will stand behind the underdog. And when they heard Dr. Wallach's message, it resonated with them. It's a country that already goes to a naturopathic doctor before they go to an allopathic doctor. And so they were very open to the message and very excited about it. And when they realized it was a purpose and a cause and there was a fight going on that they could be a part of, they were jumping in. I mean, one of the phrases I learned over there is everyone should have a chance, and they would say, "Let's give it a go," right? And everybody would give it a go.
All right, now hold on to that thought, buddy. Hold on to that thought. This is a quick segment, up against a hard break. More when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, about Todd Smith and Youngevity's adventure down under. You're not going to believe what's coming up. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another live presentation of Fire Your MD Now. Today's date, May 7th, 2014, talking to Todd Smith, one of the Youngevity superstars, about his escapades with getting Youngevity into Australia. Okay, Todd, so the fickle finger of fate points you to Australia to forward Youngevity's message. When you are in Australia, the Australians resonate with Youngevity's message. What happens next?
Well, they resonated so well, Dr. G, that we were no longer justifiable in importing product. You couldn't do that feasibly because of the distance and the cost of shipping and the duties for import. So we started looking for manufacturers, and then there was a large manufacturer of many types of supplement programs, natural remedies, as well as pharmaceutical products. So they were manufacturing all of these, but they were the number one manufacturer in that part of the world, not just Australia, but the entire Pacific Rim, of nutritional supplements. Their name was Pan Pharmaceutical. They were, at the time, about a $30 million company, and the owner of this company was a very, very strong advocate for free market, strong advocate for freedom of speech, and so forth, and for access to natural alternatives, even though his company would produce for both. Well, as the natural holistic medicine, the nutritional supplement market started to really pick up over there, we were part of that. I mean, Dr. Wallach would go over there to speak, and I remember, we had him come speak, and the first time I had him speak, we had maybe 35 to 50 people in the room at the 5 or 6 lectures that we had organized, and that's a long way to fly to speak to 35 to 50 people a night. And by, within 3 or 4 months, he came over and spoke, and I got the largest room that I could get as far as a hotel banquet room, and it seated 550 people, and we had so many people register. We had to divide the night into 2 lectures, fill the room, have him lecture, clear the room out, fill it again with a second group of people on the same night.
Wow.
The message was really spreading. People were very excited, and we were manufacturing a lot of products through this Pan Pharmaceutical. Well, one of the things that's interesting in Australia is that their equivalent of the FDA over there is called TGA, Therapeutic Goods Association, and they are actually a private company that is given a complete monopoly on the regulating of nutritional products and pharmaceutical products within the country of Australia. So they're really a regulatory agency that gets to participate in the free market. So they charge for all their services and things like that, and they're self-funded. However, they are completely directed and overseen by the government. It's a really interesting scenario because they can be profitable and turn profits and receive perks and benefits from pharmaceutical companies, and their executives do all their continuing education in Fiji and Bali and so forth, where there's all sorts of interesting hanky-panky going on. This is all documented in the research, but they are the ones who give the yes and the no with regards to product approvals and so forth. And there was, without any warning, an announcement that there was a product made from Pan Pharmaceuticals that was unsafe, and not just unsafe, but they categorized it as a Class 1 recall item, which means in order to satisfy that requirement, it has to be something that will cause severe injury and or death. Immediate severe and or injury and or death in order to be considered a Class 1 recall, where everybody has to send it back and no one is supposed to touch it, and the product has to be destroyed, and there's a warning sent out. It was on every major newspaper. 20 major papers had it on the front page of the paper.
Wow.
And it wasn't just that one product. Even though there was nothing documented, even with that one product, it was a staged situation where an ingredient was in the product that was actually a legal ingredient in the product, which was used in many pharmaceutical products that it was actually producing at the same facility. None of them were recalled. There were no warnings issued on them. But this one was recalled, and then it became an across-the-board recall of every nutritional supplement that Pan Pharmaceutical makes, a Class 1 recall.
Wow.
And they listed all of the companies who had products made through Pan Pharmaceutical on this front-page paper by alphabetical order. And it literally, in a matter of 4 days, shut down every health food store, every nutritional company, every network marketing company that sold nutritional products. Every single competition in Australia there was to pharmaceutical drugs was shut down in 4 days.
Unbelievable. Now, I'm assuming that there were legal battles which ensued. Is that right?
Yeah, so the owner of the company, he lost everything. Within 60 days, the government had come in and liquidated every one of his assets, the warehouse, the manufacturing, everything. I mean, it was as if, and not as if, they knew that they had to destroy the evidence, because when they actually went and researched the claim, it was completely unfounded. Right. And there was no evidence for it. And if anything, it never should have even been a recall, let alone a Class 1 recall. And so the owner of this company sued the TGA, which is basically suing the government, right? And he was awarded $55 million for fraudulent acts and judgments in the handling of this case by the TGA. Now, after that there was a class action lawsuit, which then settled for $250 million. And so you can see the TGA, which ultimately means the Australian taxpayers. The Australian taxpayers ended up paying, $300 million just in the punishments and the fees, just in order to squash basically the nutritional supplement industry in Australia and to provide a monopolistic environment for the pharmaceutical companies and their products.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is just an unbelievable thing. So what happened to the TGA after this? I mean, after they were found guilty that they, cooked the books and that they'd made the whole thing up and the government ordered them to, pay $300 million in damages, what happened to the TGA?
Well, you would expect that there would be some pretty big repercussions, that executives would get fired and roasted at the stick or something, right? But nothing. Right. There were no punishments for individuals. There were no changes to the way the organization operates. Nothing changed as a result of it.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's good to be king, because when you're king, you can chop people's heads off, and you get away with it, you get a pass, you get impunity. I mean, it's unbelievable. We see it here in the United States on kind of lower scale stuff, kind of more hidden in the background, hidden in the shadows. I mean, this is just unbelievable to me that this was such a flagrant thing in front of everybody's face, countrywide. So after the dust settles, what happened to the nutritional supplement industry in Australia?
Well, first off, Dr. G, had I not been there, had I not actually experienced it, I wouldn't believe it, right? This sounds too far-fetched, too extreme. Nobody does that. But I did. I lived it. I saw it. It's all documented. You can find it all on the web. So what happened is, to the credit of the Australians, they are honest people. They are up for a fight. And Steve Wallach and Dr. Wallach and the team at Youngevity, as well as a few others, we were the only ones at first, found ways to produce products in the USA through already TGA-authorized facilities that allowed us to manufacture them in the U.S. At extreme cost, because it was short notice, air freight them over to Australia so that we could provide products to these people, because there's nothing on the shelves. I mean, they could not get a product anywhere, not just our product. They couldn't get anybody's product. And it was, basically it was a complete confiscation, shutdown of anybody with nutritional products. And so, and they scare all the old ladies of their, they're scared now of the calcium pills and so forth.
Right.
And so, but to the credit of the Australians, they saw through it even faster than the litigation could be handled. And in a matter of a few weeks to months, because we were able to get the products back in their hands, you can't fight the numbers, you can't fight the results. And when people's health is turned around and then it goes bad, they say, I don't care where I have to go and what I have to do, I'm going to get myself the stuff for mom, for dad, for sister, for brother. And that's what happened. And so the nutritional supplement business, the alternative health industry in Australia is alive and well. It survived this. It's been a slap in the face to the TGA, as well as to the pharmaceutical companies. Now, that doesn't mean they're done, right? They've got another plan that they're scheming right now, I'm sure, or more. But the truth of the matter is that the honest will prevail, the truth will prevail, and because of fighters like yourself and Dr. Wallach and Youngevity and the team we have, we just don't give up. We will succeed. We will be able to resolve people's health issues. We will be able to make sure that we get people on the right side of the fence and that they don't have to suffer.
I mean, it's just an unbelievable thing. When I heard this story the first time, ladies and gentlemen, here's what happened to me. My head exploded, just like that. Let's hear that once more. My head exploded just like that. This is unbelievable, right? We talk about this all of the time, that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that, when you're the head of the monopoly, you can do whatever you want, and you get a ride. You get impunity. There's no jail time. You're too big to fail. Too big to jail. Well, in Australia, they shut the entire nutritional supplement industry down countrywide based on nothing other than fiction. Nothing other than fiction. Took a while for it to come back, but as my guest says, the truth will out, and this, I think, is one of the things that we need to talk about more in longevity. Because in point of fact, when you put the mission before the commission, when you put the mission of helping people to recover their health, to helping people to get on the other side of a bad health issue, helping to relieve human suffering, I mean, that's something to get up for in the morning. That's something to get excited about in the morning. And it does not matter who stands in your way, because once you have experienced the truth, you're in its velvet grasp forever. And this is one of the greatest things about longevity, because when you get involved with longevity, folks, you are going to find yourself in the company of people like Todd Smith, people like Blake Graham, people like Steve Wallach, people like Dr. Joel Wallach, and thousands of other individuals all around the world helping to keep this engine running, like-minded individuals of single purpose who have experienced the truth and have no problem whatsoever opening their mouth about it. Todd, I could talk to you all day about stuff like this. You're a legend in longevity. I'd love to have you back in the future. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, the privilege is mine, absolutely. And all I can say is, please, everybody listening, join our fight. Join us.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Todd Smith. Let's give him a great big round of applause. Thanks so much, buddy. We will see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, finishing up the first hour of today's broadcast. Unbelievable, right? I mean, you know, some things, it's like, that can't be possibly true. That's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. And this is what we're up against. It's a good fight. It's really the only fight to be involved in right now, because what's at stake? Your health. You can have all the money in the world, but, you know, like Steve Jobs, if you don't have your health, you're going to die, sucker, way before your time. You want to get leverage on that? Join longevity. By the way, if you want information about Todd Smith, he has a great website with a lot of very interesting tools that you can use to build your longevity business. Check it out. It's Y, like the letter Y, Team, T-E-A-M, Tools, YTeamTools.com, YTeamTools.com, YTeamTools.com. Check it out. Let's finish out the first hour in Bama and talk to Rita. Hey, Rita, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden. Thanks for taking my call.
What's going on, Rita?
Okay. I think it's time to tweak my daily nutritional regime.
Oh, all right.
I started out 8 months ago with the biggest issue was the soft tissue issue. And now with a small number, it was 7 in the blood sugar. Now, what's presenting itself, I believe it's probably a healing crisis, which is a good thing. But what is presenting it's the symptom picture of blood sugar with the weird head things that can happen and more voiding at night than normal. Diet is good, gluten-free, oil-free, bad food's gone. And I'm just wondering, what would you have me tweak? I do 12 EFAs a day, 3 selenium, 6 immortalium, along with the Mighty 90. When I get up in the mornings, because of this issue that started about 10 days ago, I take 1 Sweeties when I get up in the morning.
Well, what's the issue? What's the issue that started 10 days ago?
There's that peculiar woozy thing that can happen when the blood sugar is off.
Well, we're assuming that it's a blood sugar issue. Why do you think it's a blood sugar issue? So, all right. So, notwithstanding, so let's leave our thoughts aside for a moment here, and just tell me, how does it feel when it happens to you, and when does it happen?
It happens about 3 hours after I wake up.
In the morning?
Yes.
Okay.
And it can last for 3 to 5 hours, which is odd.
Oh, yeah. What's it feel like?
It's a wooziness in the head, like and it's almost a trembling in the physical body, almost a trembling-like sensation.
Yep.
There's a little tinnitus that has been coming and going.
Okay. Do you perspire at all?
Only if it's over 80 degrees and I'm outside.
All right, but that's not part of the symptom complex here, right? When you get woozy and tingly, you're not perspiring, right?
Yes.
Have you ever passed out because of this?
Historically, I had basal syncope, yes.
Because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like vasovagal syncope to me. So here's what I'd like you to do. I don't think this is a blood sugar issue. Okay. Here's what I'd like you to do. Do you have a blood pressure cuff?
I do.
All right, great. So I want you to get into the habit, please, of taking your blood pressure 3 times a day. I want you to take it first thing in the morning when you wake up. Right, you get up out of bed, sit in the bed before you go to the bathroom or anything. Take your blood pressure first thing in the morning. Then I'd like you to take your blood pressure when you're in the middle of this attack, so to speak. And then I'd also like you to take your blood pressure right around sunset. Well, before dinner. I'd like you to take your blood pressure again before dinner. Write those numbers down, and then call me back with a report of what those numbers are, because I don't think this is a blood sugar issue. I think it's a vasovagal syncope thing. And what that speaks to, if I'm correct, is the need for more calcium and some glucogel. So if you're taking the powdered calcium now, you want to switch to the liquid calcium. You want to take 1 ounce per 100 pounds per day, plus 1 extra ounce a day. And you want to do the glucogel capsules, either 1 capsule per 10 pounds per day or 1 ounce per 50 pounds per day of the glucogel liquid. So extra calcium, switch to the liquid calcium if you haven't already, glucogel, do the blood pressures, and call me back. Ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 coming up after these messages. Stick around.